Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Oh, I do have to fix that. Welcome back to another week, another edition of ESL Open Cup Americas number 240. We are back. It's good to be back here in the land of the Americas with your weekly dose of ESL Americas StarCraft. I'm, of course, Showside VIP. Here with me, I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by these amazing players, and by, of course, my lovely plushies as well, always keeping me company. We have our first series, we have our first match, exclamation mark, be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. The bracket is live, the bracket is massive, full of players, and we can dive into the bracket after our first series. For now, we have a PvZ, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Ghost River, we have our American Protoss player, the green Protoss. Representing Team GGCF, it is ProbeScout. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Canadian Zerg player, the purple Zerg, going for a very aggressive start. Aggression on aggression. We have, representing Born Gosu, HuntedSwarm. Let's go. Predictions are open in the chat if you guys want to place your bets. Meanwhile, boys are being pulled. The pylon has been thrown down. ProbeScout is known for one thing only, for probe scouting and for cannon rushing. He does cannon rush quite prevalently, quite frequently. He even cannon rushed Zest to death a couple of years ago, back in his heyday, back in, I think it was 2021, maybe 2020, many years ago. The cannon has been thrown down. The wall is solid, and the cannon is going to get up and running. It is going to get up, bearing in mind this is a dedicated cannon rush. There's no expansion behind this. We do cancel the pylon, we turn in the gateway, more cannons on the way. We're slowly encroaching upon the main base of HuntedSwarm. Now remember, HuntedSwarm did go for an earlier spawning pool. We have earlier Lings on the way, earlier Queen potential as well. The Queen is delayed though amidst all this chaos, and as a result, these Lings won't be able to get much done, but they will get across the map. They do slip out across the map. Speaking of, ProbeScout forced a cannon of his own, forced a wall off as well. So a nice forcing of a reaction here out of ProbeScout. We do force a gateway, force a cannon as well. Resources spent elsewhere. Meanwhile, HuntedSwarm back at home should be working towards, I would hope, a Roach Warren. For now is investing into Ling speed and more Lings. This I'm less convinced by. The Lings have arrived. They can chip away at the wall, but the cannon should finish up in time. We should be able to defend. Yeah, the cannon is done. Lings are being shot down. Meanwhile, across the map, we have more Lings on the way, but again, they can't really do much as Lings are forced back. And again, typically against this kind of build, against this kind of cannon rush, we would love to see, something like a Roach Warren, like Ravager's Breakout, maybe Ling Vane. For now, we're droning up, and I'm curious what direction we're going to go in. There it is. Roach Warren has now been thrown down for HuntedSwarm. Meanwhile, a shout out in the chat to Dave Tester. Oh my god, thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. I saw that, I think you were streaming Stormgate and then StarCraft. Regardless, thank you so much. Gah, papi, gah. Thank you. Thank you. Slash shout outs at Dave Testa. Gracias, papi. Gracias. Welcome everyone, welcome to the stream. Of course, we are here in the first series of the night. Lings are looking for proxies out on the map for ninja bases. Likewise, so is ProbeScout, both players being very vigilant when it comes to our scouting. When it comes to the overall build of ProbeScout, we have cannons, yes, but the tech has been quite delayed. This Cybercore feels quite late in comparison to everything else, but now that the Cybercore is done, we can throw down a Stargate or a Robo, we can double down and we can commit. And there it is, we have a Robo. It is going to be a Robo here from ProbeScout. Meanwhile, HuntedSwarm back in the main base going for a fast lair. This lair could be for a Nidus. We could try to Nidus across the map. Overlord is in position. We can, of course, run the Nidus in the main, in the natural, and try to lay siege upon the Protoss player. Otherwise, we could see something wild like Infestation Pit into Swarm Host Nidus. But it should be just, Roaches, Ravagers, Nidus Swarm. Like, that does make the most sense given the situation. As, yeah, the Overlord is intentionally getting behind the mineral line. We can see as well, ProbeScout, he's vigilant about scouting his main base, making sure there is no hidden area, hidden location in the main in case there was a Nidus a little bit further back. So ProbeScout is aware. Adept does shade in. Ooh, gets 2 drones, not bad. 2 drones will go down. We get a 3rd drone as well. 3 drone kills already, a massive amount of damage. Doesn't sound like a lot, but bearing in mind, HuntedSwarm is on 1 base economy, doesn't have much of an economy to begin with. The economy is barely there. There we go. Nidus Swarm is on the way. We're not going to have any Ravagers, just vanilla Roaches. We're going to have Speedlings as well, which can help reinforce. But the question becomes, can we even get it up and running? Like, Nidus Swarm is good and all, but For the probes that can surround, we have an adept in the main as well. We have DPS available. It's not going to be the easiest to get up and running. Yeah, we have a cannon further back in the main as well. So do we go for the Nidus in the main or at the natural instead and try to work our way in? We're going for the main. Overseer has arrived. Meanwhile, across the map, Immortals have been banking up. Forced to recall. Oh, that's a pretty big reaction. The army does recall back home. HuntedSwarm into the main base of ProbeScout. He sees. He does see. He does confirm, and he should respond with that Immortal. Yeah, we'll get on top of it, and that Nidus will not complete. Yeah, we are all over it. HuntedSwarm gets shut down. Meanwhile, across the map, we have to slowly work our way out. Again, no Ravagers, so not going to be the cleanest trade breaking down these cannons. Not the easiest, as Disruptors are now on the way. Oof, yes. We get one cannon, we take a lot of damage on these Roaches. But Disruptors are coming, and ProbeScout, he's still in control. We're getting to Roach speed, we don't really have much gas to work with. And making 2 Ravagers. And we can still go for another HuntedSwarm outside of the main. That is still a viable option here for HuntedSwarm. Is viable. Whether it's at the natural or outside of the third. The army does break out. We still have that Overlord outside as well. We can still try to go for Nidus, but I mean, yeah, we're patrolling in the main. Just have arrived. The Disruptor is here. No kills yet. Oh. And this isn't the strongest contain from ProbeScout. Like, there's no shield batteries, only a handful of cannons. We could see HuntedSwarm try to break out, but here come the reinforcements, and now we're up to 2 Disruptors. We build up towards 2. Nova goes up. Oh! Does take down the Tumor. Spinecrawler taking a lot of hits as well. There was, oh my god, nice Miles. We sniped the Prism. Not a bad pickoff. War Prism goes down. The Spinecrawlers are still barely standing. Barely. Oh, but a brutal force field as we lock down the main army. Nova's going to be going off, and yeah, there is no escape. Massive connections. We take down the Ravagers, almost all of them. GG gets called, and ProbeScout will take game number 1. GG. ProbeScout does take the first game. And we'll take a lead in the series. Again, ProbeScout, he's known for cannon rushing. He famously or infamously did a cannon rush Zest out of an ESL Open Cup America a couple of years ago. That was kind of like his, I think, maybe biggest accomplishment, especially considering this was Zest in his prime, Zest on top of the world. So ProbeScout, he's got that kind of accolade behind him. And does take the first game. We'll see if HuntedSwarm can acclimate, though. Again, I'm sure HuntedSwarm is a little bit less familiar with ProbeScouts, is maybe a little bit less aware of the kind of playstyle he goes for. Now more so. You know, now he's a little bit more, gonna be a little bit more adept at responding and scouting and reacting here to ProbeScout. I want to believe. I want to believe. So we're getting into game number 2. It's gonna be on Alcyone. Just catching up in the chat. Just catching up. Hello, Pecoeta. Hello. I saw Cyberjohn as well. Ursus. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Young Alistair as well. Welcome, welcome. I saw Soundo, Werehog as well. Mr. Calculon. Welcome. Good morning. It is 9:23 a.m. in the morning here in Australia. Quite early. I could barely sleep today. I don't know why. I slept like 4 hours or something. I woke up at like 6 a.m. It's not good. Wake up at 6, so I'm a little bit, you know, I'm a little bit out of it, but it's fine. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. As we are settling in and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alcyone, we have our American Protoss player, the Green Protoss, representing clan at TGCF. It is ProbeScout. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Canadian Zerg player, the purple Zerg, representing Born Gosu. It is HuntedSwarm. Here we go. So much chat, really? Yeah. Very, very famous series between ProbeScout and Zest. This was back in, again, it was either 2020 or 2021. It was one of those 2 years. Long time ago. But now, another forge. We have another forge on the way. ProbeScout setting up another cannon rush. Again, it's all he does. It's all he does, which is why he is one of the best at it. Let's go. As boys are going to be pulled. Once again, HuntedSwarm. Again, is a little bit more aware of what's going on. Trying to shut this down ahead of time, but the pylon does finish. Yeah, backup pylon on the way. We have walled off, and now we have room for a cannon. Speaking of, there it is. Oh, it was misplaced as the probe got stuck there against the wall, but the cannon now gets replaced. We replace the gateway as well, and this cannon will finish. These 3 drones won't be able to deny anything here. They're gonna try, but yeah, this is wasted mining time. This is wasted, really, time for these drones to be attacking when they could otherwise be mining resources. Oh, we're going for a ninja base. Okay, this I can get behind. This I can get behind as we're going for an extractor trick, a gas steal across the map, making it a little bit more difficult to invest into roaches and ravagers. But with this proxy, we can go for either roaches across the map. We can just go for a ling flood as well. In general, I would love to see a bit of an earlier roach horn than last game, but we'll see. We'll see what HuntedSwarm goes for, as the cannon rush is under full swing. Back at home, we should be seeing a cyber core to get into the proxy robo. There it is. Cyber core is on the way. Gas is being focused down. This time, we have not invested into any spine crawlers. And there is that roach horn. So we're going for proxy roaches across the map. With 2 gas saturation, we should be able to afford a handful of ravagers. I'm referring to around 4 ravagers. And that should be enough to break through this defensive line, especially if ProbeScout does not throw down cannons back at home. Like, ProbeScout is looking vulnerable. For now. So we have our wall of cannons finishing. Cybercore is done. We should soon be seeing that robo. Assuming it's a robo, it could be a Stargate. That's also possible. He's scouting! No! Oh my, as ProbeScout, he will move out and does get eyes on the proxy. He's aware of the hatchery. I mean, we saw this last game, if you remember, where ProbeScout, he was checking and scouting around the edge of the map. So, did it in game 1. Here in game 2, it pays off. I mean, ProbeScout, he scouts with the probe. He's crazy. Oh my god, he's on brand. Roaches are amassing. Back at home, we should be seeing cannons. Uh-oh. So ProbeScout is aware of what's going on, and still no reaction in the main. That I'm concerned about. I'm concerned. He can try to recall back home as HuntedSwarm is supply blocked. Stalkers are racing back. Ravagers on the way back at home. Ooh, okay, that's a little bit disjointed. And ProbeScout looking to lay siege upon the base itself. But again, his main is so exposed. We can send it, Pappy. We can send it. Warp gate isn't done, which means we can't reinforce. Like, a recall is the only way to save this. But the longer this goes on, the higher chances there are of ProbeScout defending. There we go. Shield battery is now on the way. Have we taken too long? Oh, we're droning. As HuntedSwarm is making some workers. Oh, the Stalkers, they distract the Roaches. Roaches are pulled away. Shield battery will finish. And HuntedSwarm, he is being distracted by these Stalkers. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, we can afford to lose this space. We don't need it. If we could have broken in, if we could have shut down the economy in the main, that could have been game. I mean, that would have been a win condition, maybe. That's the better way of putting it. But meanwhile, here comes the rest of the army. We have the Immortal, we have the Stalkers, and yeah, we're forcing a fight here. Out in the open, we focus on the Spine Crawler. Spine Crawler falls. HuntedSwarm not even fighting with his entire army. There we go. He is now trying to break out. He's working on it. Yeah, we're going to bleed out a lot of Roaches. Roaches are going down. With the help of the Prism as well, we can micro back to the Immortal. The Immortal should not die. Yeah, the micro is there. GG gets called. We pull HuntedSwarm apart, and ProbeScout will take the series 2-0. GG. He does it again. GG, well played. ProbeScout, he will take this series and advance on into the next round. I mean, ProbeScout, he was the favorite player coming into this. Like, he cannon rushes almost exclusively, so he's well versed in all things cannons. And GG, well played. ProbeScout will take it. We'll advance on into the next round. My condolences to HuntedSwarm. I do hope that HuntedSwarm does take a look at the replays, does go over them, and does try to adjust himself. I mean, again, it's not easy defending against cannon rushes, especially if you're not used to it. Like, if you're laddering, how often do you get cannon rushed, right? Like, once a ladder session, if that, maybe like once a week or once a month. Like, I know it's not the most common of things. I mean, I guess depending on your ladder experiences, it's all subjective, but because of that, it can be difficult to come up with a response on the fly, especially if you're a little bit less practiced in that. So GG, well played. Regardless, HuntedSwarm, he was working on it. He was getting there. I appreciate it. And ProbeScout will take the series, and we can take a moment to have a look at the bracket and figure out where we are headed. Let's go. Let us go. As I do need a moment to set this up, and then we can go over this from the top.